Let's now bring in Greek MEP, Professor Notης Mariás. Thanks, Mr. Mariás, for joining us here on International. So, according to the migrant deal with the EU, Turkey needs to comply with 72 criteria before getting visa-free travel. And Brussels at this point says that 19 have been met so far. So, the question is, why is Ankara giving the EU this ultimatum now?
Well, this is the typical way Turkey reacts. It is blackmail by Turkey. They knew that in order to get the liberalization for visa for their nationals to travel freely in the EU, they had to comply with certain conditions, and these conditions are described. There are actually 72 conditions that they have to meet, but Turkey, of course, refuses to meet these conditions. So now they are blackmailing that they will not keep and abide by the agreement that they have signed with the EU on the 18th of March. But we have to know that Turkey is obliged by international law to comply with the international agreement of Geneva of 1951 for the refugees. This means that they have to treat refugees coming in their soil from Syria, and they have to do it according to international standards. Secondly, they have to stop the illegal trafficking and the smuggling of migrants from Syria to Greece via the Turkish soil. This means that they have to arrest the smugglers. These are obligations that they come under international law, and this has nothing to do with the implementation of the EU-Turkey agreement itself. So Turkey actually doesn't want to accept the obligations they have under international law. This is the main issue, and that's why now they use all these tricks and they blackmail the EU, although they know that they have to comply with 72 conditions.
Certainly,
which are very specific.
Yeah, 72 as you mentioned, and so far only 19 have been met. But looking at the deal here, you know, it's been highly criticized by different groups, different rights groups, as well as European officials. So what do you make of the situation in general? I mean, is it the best that could be agreed now, given the pressure, of course, from the migrant crisis?
Well, we have to understand that Turkey is the problem as regards the migrant crisis, because all these irregular immigrants, they travel via Turkey and they arrive in the Greek islands. If Turkey wants to stop this smuggling, this illegal smuggling and trafficking of human beings, they can do it. And they have proved it the last 10 or 15 days, because they have stopped actually the massive trafficking via Turkey. This means that in the past they have allowed the smugglers to bring people to Greece, and of course we know that at least 12 billion euros have been paid by Syrian refugees and other irregular immigrants to the smugglers in Turkey.
Well,
so it's
Mr.
up to
Mariás,
them
sorry for interrupting you. We will return to you just a little bit later in the program. Well, Mr. Mariás, let's get back now to you. Thanks for standing by. So as we see, Turkey itself doesn't have the greatest track record when it comes to freedom of expression, especially in the media. And just recently, the EU Parliament issued a report saying there have been serious backsliding on this. So why is that not receiving more attention in Europe now?
Well, Europe is focusing on the situation in Turkey. We know that the Turkish government and the Turkish state violates human rights in Turkey. We know the case of the Kurds. Actually, the Turkish state is fighting against the Kurds, and also they are violating their rights. And now we have the case of the freedom of expression. It is something that in in Turkey does not apply. We know that the government has decided to close down one of the biggest newspapers with a huge circulation because this newspaper has been criticizing the government. So this is something that Europe knows every time we criticize their way of handling the human rights issues in Turkey. And this is something that has to be understood also by the peoples of Europe and also by the politicians of Europe. And this is why my position is that Turkey actually has no place in the European Union because it is not a democratic state. And they are violating constantly the fundamental rights. And also they have occupied the 37% of the territory of Cyprus. And they are using a casus belli against Greece. They are violating Greece's sovereign airspace. So I don't think that Turkey is a country which can become a member of the European Union.
Well, that, of course, is something for debate for a lot of the other EU member states. There, for now, though, Notis Marias, thanks so much for talking to us here on RT International.